If you've been asked to be a music director in your church and you have no idea what the role entails, in this video I share my personal story as to how I got involved and to become a music director, and I'll give you 2 tips to get you acquainted with what it takes to become one. This is how I became a music director. God allowed me to go through a course of events in my musical history that shaped and honed my skills as a music director long before I got even called to the role. In Singapore Youth for Christ, there's a program called Project Serve, and there are several ministries that young people can apply to serve 3 months as a full-time ministry capacity staff, but they are in transition between uni, between schools. I had just come back from Sydney, Australia, finished my undergraduate studies, waiting to be enlisted into the army. And during that time, it was about 6 to 8 months, I was challenged to spend it meaningfully in a full-time capacity with Youth for Christ, and so I did. I ended up under the Performing Arts Ministry. I was the oldest project servant there, and so because I was the oldest, my supervisor looked at me and said, "You're going to be the band leader." Not because I was any more skilled than anyone else, but simply because I was the oldest one and presumably the more responsible one of the lot. As the band leader, I not only had the responsibility of putting together the chord charts for people to refer to, I also had the very fun and very harrowing task of arranging the music. One of the hallmarks of being in Project Serve under the Performing Arts Ministry is that we get to plan and organize and pull off an evangelistic concert using radio songs. And the problem with radio songs, especially in the period of 2007 to 2008, is that the pop sounds were really pop, very non-band oriented kind of music. So I had to work with musicians who are way higher in caliber than myself, and to work out how do we arrange the music such that we could pull it off with a 4-piece, 5-piece band. My first arrangements were not great, let me tell you that. But after numerous performances and of course the concert, having worked with these high caliber musicians, I learned the lingo, I learned the limitations of each of the instruments, I learned how each instrument could blend well with the other instruments. And so I translated all this know-how into church, and with church it was a lot easier in the sense that the songs were already in a band format, and it was just a matter of either tweaking the sounds to make it fit a 4-piece band rather than a 10-piece band like in Hillsong or Bethel Elevation. Let me share with you 2 things that have helped me to become a better music director, and hopefully this will shortcut your process by a couple of years, because it really did take quite a long time for me as a person with very little musical talent to reach where I am in life. First and foremost, you need to become a listening machine. You need to be listening, and constantly listening. Your Spotify rotation should be off the charts. You should be having as many genres and as many songs as possible. And not just casually listening, but doing a genre deep dive as you listen to the music. Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, a notebook if possible, or for you tech-inclined people, your laptop or something, and begin to ask yourself some questions for critical thinking. Like, how are the bass and drums creating that groove and that feel? How are the guitars supporting each other? Is it a case of the rhythm guitar playing chords, the lead guitar playing lead lines? Is it a case of 2 rhythm guitars and each rhythm guitar is handling different parts of, let's say, one is doing fancier chords, the other one's doing basic power chords? If it's 2 lead guitars, what kind of lead parts are they playing such that they're complementing each other and not like really clashing with one another? And more importantly, how are the guitar parts being crafted such that it doesn't clash with the vocal melody? Because that is the most important part of being a guitar player on a worship team. The second thing that you can do, which will really help, is to be familiar with how MultiTracks work in a digital audio workstation environment. Now, this can be a solo recording project, this can be a recording for fun situation, it can be a simple guitar and vocals. If you're in a church that has a multi-track subscription, go ahead and ask your worship pastor or your leader if you're able to borrow a group of tracks from a song and to load these tracks into a digital audio workstation like Cakewalk on Windows, BandLab online, or GarageBand on Mac. It really doesn't matter what DAW you use. All that matters is that you're able to visualize all tracks at the same time and to go through section by section what's going on. For example, in the intro, what are the
various instrument groups doing? How are the drums and bass creating anticipation with the intro? What are the guitars doing to set the tone of the song with that big high energy intro? How does that contrast when you go to a verse section where it's a bit more died down? You're able to get a much deeper perspective of music if you're able to work in a multi-track environment. The goal isn't to become a recording engineer or to be able to come up with a hit single or your hit album, or those things can be done eventually, but the main purpose is that you're able to hear a song and split it apart in your head to the various tracks, to be able to hear at any one point in time what's going on in the guitar layer, what's going on in the keyboard layer, the drum layer, the bass layer, and how do all these layers interact with one another. If you can do that, you are in good hands as a music director. Hi, pick up my kid, my child. Yeah, okay. Thanks. So let's get to work. Let's be critical listeners with our listening and to break apart songs as much as we possibly can so that we can pick up the genre nuances, and then we can apply those when we eventually have to arrange music for our worship team. And secondly, let's become familiar with the DAW environment with MultiTracks so that when we listen to a song, we're able to split apart a song to its individual layers and then have perspective as to how those layers function, so that when we lead the team, we can tell and inform exactly what needs to be done to create a certain mood, a certain vibe, a certain emotion, all for the grand purpose of helping your team sound the best that they possibly can.
And that's my story. What about you? Do you have any questions as to what it means to be a music director? Do you need additional hints and tips? I'll gladly provide them in the comment section below. Please ask any questions you need. Thanks for watching. If you found any value in this video, I really appreciate a subscribe, a like, and hitting the bell notification. It informs me that this is content that's relevant for you, and it will encourage me to make more videos just like this. Thank you for watching. This is Justin signing off, and I'm all about worship guitar.